Hi, I'm Annette Pasternak, the Stop Skin Picking Coach. Today I'm going to talk to you about my Dermatillomania Diaries. Woo! Dermatillomania Diaries! I went through this one, and 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 this one. I went through all of those and underlined every single thing about my skin picking throughout the years. And then I put it in a blog post, literally from top to bottom, 10,000 words. Okay, there's way more in these things. These are all college old books, you guys. So thankfully, it's still a small fraction of all the crap I wrote about throughout the years, all the drama in my life and whatnot, and my personal thoughts, like just, about other stuff. But there was still a lot about my skin picking, and I want to share with you some things about that. First of all, I mean, you can read the entire thing. It is complete and unedited through 2001 till sometime in 2011. And you may be asking, but maybe not, but I want to tell you, like, why the heck did I do this? So it came about when I was looking through my journals just for some totally different reason, and I was reading some of the stuff, and some of the stuff about the skin picking was like, wow, this is pretty coherent and possibly helpful to people. And so I wondered, like, well, what if I look through and I took out the bits from all of the journals that have to do with it? Would it make something that people would want to read? And so I did it, and I read through it, and I was like, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. So what can you possibly get out of reading this? I mean, first of all, I'm sure you may be curious, like, wow, it's not a story, your own type of story, right? It's not something you really see out there in a lot of books or movies or whatnot. Not that I'm making really a movie version of that, but there's something about like being reflected back. Something about like reading someone else's words that you just relate to totally, and I'm sure you've had that experience from reading other things. But that's number one why I did this. Number two, I think that you could get a lot of insights just by reading, okay, noticing like, okay, what was I doing that was working? Because I really talk a lot about like trying to stop. Like, one thing I was surprised about is that I didn't write anything until I was 30, I think 30 years old. Never wrote a thing about my skin picking. And even though I remember it very well from my later teens, like in college and into my 20s, through my 20s, I do remember it. I remember wanting to stop, but it wasn't until I really went to my first therapist for it. She didn't have a ton to offer, but she did have something. So it made me start to write about it, for one thing. And then there's like lots of different techniques that I use, things that I discover about myself in my picking, and then things that I learn and implement and give up on. And like you'll see like tremendous ups and downs, where I really like practically stopped for a while and then got like at least as deep back in as I did before. And maybe you can ask yourself, well, why was that? Or I mean, I could tell you what I think. It's just that I literally gave up on it. I had other things. My life was too stressful for me. And a lot of it was, the long-term healing really wasn't until I really changed not only my outside life, but my inner life, with tools like meditation and really just a whole bunch of like just, changing the way I thought about things and my doing emotional work really as well. I hope one of the things it will do is be encouraging if you can see all the ups and downs that I went through. I hope you'll see that and like know, okay, wow, you know, the like short amount of time I may have tried X or Y, I guess that's just not enough. I guess it's not that I'm at fault for like, oh, that didn't work. Maybe it's just not enough, or I didn't do this for long enough where there's more pieces to the puzzle. Yes, that's actually the thing, is that you kind of have to have all the pieces in place to make a really, really lasting and permanent change. Dun, 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 Dermatillomania Diaries. There's just one more thing that I learned from these diaries that I want to mention just in case anyone has had or is having this experience. One of the things that surprised me, there was a time in my life that you can read about, at least as far as the picking and the anxiety in these diaries. This time I didn't say in the diaries that, you know, I basically had left my job a couple months before. I had told them I wanted to stick around one more year, and then they were like, well, if you don't want to be here, we don't want you, you're leaving now, basically. And then I had all this anxiety of like, okay, you know, I mean, I left because I wanted to be a writer, basically. And then I was like, my writing ground to a halt from kind of anxiety and like, who am I now if I'm not a scientist and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was really just that. I mean, that's enough to cause a lot of anxiety, but I thought it was that, or I suspected, you know, I did some Reiki at the time and I was like, oh, you know, this healing thing, and they raise your vibration, and I was like, maybe I just can't handle the raised vibration, and that made me anxious. I thought maybe the Reiki made me anxious. But looking back at the timeline in my books, I realized that I had gone to Mexico City like practically right after that. You know, I left, you know, gone from the job in May, go to Mexico in June, got violently ill and didn't get treated for it. I was like, oh, it's getting better, you know, only having diarrhea like 3 times a day now, and then 2 times a day, and then I got, you know, a lot better. But the anxiety that I felt, that I really had after, I think now that I know that parasites can cause a lot of issues, that's what it was. So I guess my message here is like, don't be an idiot like me. If you get violently ill, get treatment for it. Don't be like, oh, it's better, because I've been through so much since then that I really didn't have to go through health-wise. I mean, it just like completely, over time, you know, those buggers, like they still hung out. They like protect themselves in biofilm. They hung out in my system, and just my immune system kept attacking them. It burned my adrenals out. It clogged up the immune complexes or whatever, clogged up my liver. My liver wasn't working properly. I couldn't detoxify. I got high heavy metals. High heavy metals gives you candida, and like I've got viruses, like a mess. I just wanted to add that. I know it's not related to skin picking, but I know somebody out there that's watching it is like, oh my gosh, that happened to me. Or at least, you know, part of it. So anyways, yeah, so I am really curious what you get out of the diaries when you read them. So, you know, please post a comment either here or on my blog, or if you want to be anonymous, send me an email. I love getting emails from you guys. All right. Please give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not, and I will see you next time.